turn it over quickly to Scott Lightman, the VP Communications for the Fiesta Sports Foundation, and after that, Coach will make an opening statement. But Scott, the floor is yours.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us here for the beginning aspects of the 2025-26 college football playoff semifinal of the Fiesta Bowl. We're very excited to welcome the Miami Hurricanes back. It's been 23 years since the Hurricanes played in the Fiesta Bowl. An exciting team. We saw that on display on Wednesday night in Dallas and throughout the year. We can't wait for them to get to Arizona here next week. Just a few housekeeping items. Any information the media needs, please visit www.fiestabowl.org/mediaroom. All the transcripts, videos, schedules, and whatnot will be located on there all week long. And Coach, congratulations on your season, and we're excited to have you back. Last time you personally were at the Fiesta Bowl, we didn't get as many touch points as we wanted, so we're excited to welcome you and the Hurricanes back to the Valley of the Sun.
Awesome. Coach, we're going to start with opening statement and go from there.
Yeah, appreciate you having us, and certainly want to thank, first of all, the fans for showing up so strong like they did this past week in Dallas, and really proud of our team for showing resiliency, toughness, and very enthused, very excited to be able to attack this next opportunity. So many things on tape that we can get better at. You know, there's areas where we have improved, but we're still a work in progress, and just looking forward to our next opportunity. And with that being said, questions, please.
Guys, before you hop in, if you could please make sure you state your name and affiliation before asking Coach a question, but go ahead.
Gary Furman, CaneSport.com. Mario, I'm sure you're aware of the coaching situation at Ole Miss with almost their entire offensive staff going to LSU and working the portal instead of staying there for the game. And Charlie Weiss did just go back today. But does that have any impact on what you do and your preparations for the game, or do you just basically ignore that?
It has zero impact on our preparation, and I think it'd be safe to say that it doesn't impact their preparation as well. They're a great football team with great coaches that are in place, and they're preparing just as hard for this as they have for any game.
Mario, Jordan McPherson, I'm here. You mentioned the fan support, the alumni. The last couple of years, we've seen Michael Harville on the sideline for the last couple of years, but to see Jimmy Johnson, to see Andre Johnson, to see a bunch of the other guys, what does that mean for the guys here, and how much do they appreciate seeing the past, paying attention and supporting the present as you guys make this run?
Well, it's always great to see, you know, and it's great to see such high-profile names, such high-caliber former players and coaches. And it's also great to see some of the guys that maybe weren't, you know, those high-profile guys that haven't been around in a long time, but were, you know, they were Hurricanes just as well. So I think just the entirety of the Miami Hurricane family, you know, from years past showing up and supporting our team and, you know, getting back involved with the university is absolutely awesome. And it also gives our players a chance to experience that brotherhood that we have always spoken about so strongly of.
David Lake with Inside the U. With their coaching situation being what it is, it seems like that team's using it as fuel, kind of as motivation. Do you feel like that chip on the shoulder is kind of showing up on film when you watch them play here in recent weeks?
Well, I'll tell you what, watching you know, all their games, obviously they're an excellent football team. They've got speed, power, explosiveness across the field. They certainly play with a tremendous edge this past week against Georgia, and showed up big in the big moments. And you know, again, they're I think, you know, the fact that they have their play callers in place, which is, you know, arguably the most important part. I don't think there's any effect on what they do schematically, and I think that anything that, you know, an event like what they went through, I think things like that always galvanize people. So again, just really impressed with them. It's certainly the best team that we have faced, that we will face, I should say, this year, and looking forward to that opportunity.
Mario, Trinidad Chambliss, you guys face a lot of really good quarterbacks this year, especially in the playoffs. What stands out about him? What makes him maybe different than some of the guys you have faced?
Yeah, we have faced some really good ones throughout the course of the year, especially the last couple of weeks. And, you know, watching him on film, he's a different level. I mean, he can do it all. And he has excelled in every aspect of the game. He certainly brings a ton of energy to their team. He's a limitless football player. And certainly you could see on the sideline and watching some of the stuff on TV, his leadership skills and the way people gravitate to him, he's had a tremendous impact on the program and plenty of respect for him.
Darryl Street of Footballville. Coach, the last two games we've had, the team seems to be more expressive. You seem to even be more loose when you do your interviews. You're talking and saying different things. What has changed, if you care to share with us? What has changed in the program or with you?
You know, I don't think anything really. I think that media sometimes is a little bit more intrusive, so they get a little bit more behind the scenes, and sometimes maybe a narrative is built that is not exactly, completely accurate. And I think when you win and have success, then there begins, the next narrative of why this and that. But we've stayed true to our core beliefs, our principles, and our values. I think our team, as the years gone on, has certainly played with more confidence. And I think the confidence that the coaches have in the players and the vice versa has shown up more and more on the field. And I think when that happens, then you feel energy, but really we haven't strayed from our original blueprint.
Mario, any updates on Tamari Brown, OJ, and Ahmad Putin?
Progressing steadily, I would say day to day, and we'll have a better idea in the next 2 or 3 days. But we feel like they're progressing at a pretty good rate.
Mario, Christopher Stockton said that the run defense has been pretty good all year, but since that Virginia Tech game where you gave up the amount of yards these last 3 games, what has stood out to you about how you guys have played defending the run, and how big has that been in your success?
Yeah, I mean, we've done a good job this entire year for the most part. And I think people will always try to find an extra hat, an angle, right? Try to find leverage runs. And I think we adjust well to that as well. So, and I think your question was our success or people having success against us?
Your success, run defense, particularly the last 3 games since that Virginia Tech game.
I gotcha. Well, Virginia Tech, credit to them. I mean, they executed some stuff really, really well. And, we adjusted, but, they also played really, really hard. We played hard. They found some success. But I think, again, Coach Heatherman, the staff, it's not just the front seven. It's also the perimeter guys, I think the physicality and the dog mentality of our secondary, their willingness to run the alley, fit certain gaps in the run game, be the extra hat, and sometimes just flat out make a play in space. I just think our technique, our willingness has gotten better, and just the understanding of the defense and where your help is allows you to leverage the ball. And I think those things are showing up a bunch on tape.
4 fumbles the last 2 games, obviously only 2 got lost, but how much are you guys emphasizing ball security as you guys move forward?
Certainly, it's one of the non-bright spots. We take a lot of pride in that, and I think the entire year, did we lose 1 fumble the entire season? And I think we had 2, lost 1, and we've doubled that in the last 2 games, which is unacceptable. We certainly have to coach a lot better and demand it more of our players. And when you are playing these caliber games, the collisions, the speed, the physicality, there's an uptick in there. So you have to be conscious of that because, bodies are going to fly around. The impact is going to be greater, and therefore ball security, which is always at a premium, has to be emphasized and accomplished just at a higher level. And it's one of the biggest, and I'd say the biggest focal point of us this week.
Mario, Donovan Campbell, WSVN Channel 7. How do you keep the guys even keel? Obviously, guys are motivated, but at the same time, you mentioned the dog mentality. Sometimes guys can get a little bit too high. How do you make sure guys stay focused and even keel throughout the process?
No, it's a good question. I mean, I think we proved earlier in the year that we didn't handle success very well after the first 4 or 5 games, and it's a lesson that you never ever want to learn twice, right? Right now, at this time of year, really at any time, praise and overpraise is poisonous, man. It is absolutely the worst thing you can take in and listen to. And I think we've done a good job of making sure that at the forefront of everything we do is just get everything and everyone out of the way, right? Because there aren't really distractions. You create your own distractions. And I think the mentality, the DNA of our guys as it gets stronger and better, as our older guys realize that, it's their time, it's their legacy, and that they have to take control of the locker room and how we think and how we go about things. I think all that has improved in a dramatic fashion. I think it's strong. We hammer it every single day, and so far we feel like we're getting a pretty good result. But you get on it and you stay on it. I think if you come off it for a second, you're gonna have you're gonna leave a window open and you're gonna let a rat in there.
You've essentially played playoff football since that SMU game. And I'm curious just your thoughts on what's impressed you about the way Carson Beck has played and handled things, managed the offense down the stretch since that time.
Well, he's on point. I mean, schematically, he knows exactly where to go with the ball, where not to go with it. He's put us in great protections in the run game. He has put us in advantage runs. He knows where he's not protected, and he secured the football. Ball security has been fantastic for the most part. So, I mean, that's such a big part of like what we do, right? We've been efficient when we've been good, I should say. We've been efficient on offense, and it all starts with the quarterback. But again, that's like a highly committed, high work ethic guy that people gravitate towards him, and him along with CC and Ez, Mark Fletcher, CJ Daniels, Keelan, they set the tone, man. Alex Bauman, those guys are like the dudes, and together with Carson, I just think his level of play, complemented by all those guys mentioned, it has generated some really strong offensive performances, and there's a lot to correct on film. We feel like we need to be and have to be a whole lot better here going into this game.
Marty Brown didn't play against A&M, didn't really do much in the game against Ohio State until that final drive. Just to see him have the impact he did on that final drive, and just his mentality going into it, just considering the lack of playing time, just what does it say about him and just what he's meant to you guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, A&M, it was a low play count game. We had 49 offensive plays. I mean, that's slower than most NFL games. And he's always been a big part of the equation. He's proven that throughout the course of the year. And Marty is made of the right stuff. He understands what team play and being a great teammate is all about. So there's no flinch in him. There's no hesitation or reservation about him. Every time he's been called upon, he's answered the bell because he knows he's a big part of this. And he knew this was his kind of a game, too. This was one of those physical, knock 'em, sock 'em around type of games, right? The rock fights like we talk about. And he was prepared. He was prepared, and when he got his opportunity, he not only did he show up, he showed up strong, and he was a difference maker in the game, both with his catch, with his blocking, and of course the way he finished those runs.
Gabby Rudy, 24/7 Sports. This is the freshman class, a true freshman class, the enrollees of the signings in December, unique opportunity to be a part of this run. Just can you tell me just the value of those reps for those young guys, and just anything you can share about what you've seen from that group, just in this limited time?
Yeah, we feel like we hit home runs with these guys, and I'll tell you why. It's like when you get dropped off, when they got dropped off in the middle of December, and I mean you're out there and you're practicing with that level of a football team, and everything's like go go go. There's no time to explain. Hey, you have to do this. You have to jump in on scout team there. You got to run this route. You got to cover this guy. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and I'll tell you a big reason. We believe that why our defense had success this past week is because we had guys like J.J. Dunnigan and Cam Portis and Samarian Wingo, simulating their offense. Wearing number 4, wearing number 17, wearing number 1, and those guys are fast. These young guys are all 21 plus mile per hour guys. So the fact that they get to experience what we do and how we do it, even though it's later in the season, they get to be around some of these older, really good leader guys is phenomenal for them. It's invaluable. Guys like Jackson Cantwell, they get to jump in on how we game plan, how we prepare guys, technique, fundamentals. J.J. Sparks, we got another one. A couple other guys coming in today as well. Mallory's in here now. So who else do we have? What's that? We got Portis in here. Jennings, Brody just got here as well. So, I wish we get all of them in here. But it's an invaluable piece from a development standpoint. And at this time of year, the way college football on the calendar is set up, which we all have issues with it, they provide like the right type of body types to help us prepare for these games.
Talking about the calendar, just transfer portal opened yesterday, obviously balancing that in the playoffs. Just what is that balancing act like for you and the coaching staff?
I mean, there's really the balancing act is honesty and transparency. The calendar is not, is not ideal, right? So, excuse me. But you do what's best for the team, and you always do what's best for the players. And every player has a different situation. I think we've always done the right thing by people and taken the high road. I mean, some guys got to get in the portal because, you know, it's thick at that particular position, and playing time is going to be tough to come around. And other guys, you know, we got to have them go to a place where it more fits their style, you know. And we have a certain culture that we adhere to, and we don't stray from that. And that's okay. You don't judge it. You don't. These are young people, and young people deserve opportunity because you never know when it's going to click for them and they're going to get it. So we always we keep it straight up. We don't, you know, we don't feel the need to divulge any information, positive or negative. We just make sure we do the best by them and help them find a spot so they can continue, number one, their education, and then, of course, their pursuit of, you know, what they all want to do. They all want to play football.
Before we do the last couple in the room, we're going to turn it over to Carter Toole in the communications office at UM. Carter, if you can moderate some of our participants on Zoom.
Yeah, thanks, Cam. We do have some hands raised, and we'll start with Brandon Marcello. Brandon, go ahead.
Mario, congratulations. I was wondering, you know, if we were back in the old playoff format, 3 of the 4 teams that would be playing this weekend were defeated previously in the playoff. And obviously last year, Ole Miss and yourself were 2 of the first 3 teams left out. Just how important is in this day and age that maybe much like the NCAA basketball tournament, a lot of this really depends on how a team finishes the season and gets hot at the right time to really make a push these days for a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, you could cut it so many different ways, and any way you cut it, there's going to be an issue, a complaint, right? An unsatisfied customer. I mean, I guess it's a recurrent theme with something we've always talked about. What it does do is at least you get to place value against, once again, on head-to-head competition, right? You get to settle it on the field, and teams move on, and some teams don't. Now, getting into that point, again, it's just an imperfect science unless it's completely consolidated in a format that no one has a solution for. So seeing the way things played out just goes to show you that college football has become a lot like the NFL, that on any given day, any team at any level, if you're not at your very best, you can get beat.
Next, we'll go to Bob McManaman. Bob, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Back in 2003, the last time you was in the Fiesta Bowl. It didn't end well. There was a controversial ending. I know you were at Rutgers at the time. What do you remember about watching that game, and where were you when you watched it?
I remember being at Rutgers and watching the game, but that was about it.
Nothing about how it ended?
I mean, I'm at Rutgers. My focus was on making sure that my tight ends at the time were prepared to play their very best football.
Respect.
Yes, sir.
Next, we'll go to Michelle Gardner. Michelle, go ahead.
Thanks. Coach, you've been part of a lot of Miami Hurricane teams as a player, coach, assistant coach. What makes this team different?
Well, I don't know. I think that's a question that is probably best answered at the end of the year. I think that this team's maturity, its approach to, and professionalism as it relates to preparation and practice, and being able to carry that over to the playing field on game day. For us, it's been a team that has progressed tremendously over the past couple of years. But that's a tough question to answer. I apologize for not being able to have a good answer for you. You know, I don't know. We're just focused on our 1-0 process, and you know, that's about it for us.
We got time for 2 more. We'll start with Gabriella Chernow. Gabriella, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Kind of a follow-up to the portal question that was asked earlier. What do you think of kind of having this portal window open now when some teams are actively still in season? And then on top of being honest and transparent with your players, trying to navigate the portal while the landscape of college football is so ever-changing.
Yeah, how much time do we have? We could go on and on this one now. It doesn't make much sense, and you know, now that honestly I have now a different perspective now that we're in the playoffs and dealing with it. We haven't dealt with it in a negative way, you know, at least not yet, and you know, you never want to, but you could see some of the challenges that can come up with this. And I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. There is, and there has to be a solution. I'm counting on you and your colleagues to provide us with one here in the near future, but I don't have one right now, except that, you know what? Wake up, work hard, do right before the big man upstairs and your team and your people and your family, and everything else will take care of itself.
And we will wrap up with David Hale. David, go ahead.
Thanks for saving us for last, Carter. Mario, I took note that obviously you spent time on Nick Saban's staff in Alabama, as did Pete Golding, as did both the coaches in the other semifinal as well. I'm curious if you, I guess, what you took from your time working with Coach Saban that has influenced you as a head coach, and if you see some of those same things in what Pete is trying to accomplish there at Ole Miss.
Well, he's done an awesome job. I followed his career and watched him as a coordinator just do unbelievable things, and to see him get that opportunity is, quite frankly, it's awesome. I mean, he is a guy that has proven himself at the highest level, and when you do that, I think you deserve your opportunity, and he's done a great job with that. Time at Alabama, the best thing, if I could just put my finger on one thing that I value the most in terms of learning, was really reconfirming what I learned under Coach Johnson and Coach Erickson, the guys that I had a chance to play for here, is that under no circumstances can you allow human nature and complacency to take over yourself and the people in your program. And that's at all costs, and that's a daily fight. When you wake up, that's got to be like opponent number one that you have to attack with intent, with urgency. And I would say that would be the most important thing. There's so many other things that were learned, obviously. Extremely grateful for time spent there, the opportunity given to me there. It opened my eyes to what college football had grown into, what it had become, the resources necessary, the level of recruiting required, the staffing and personnel and organizational charts in the calendar of the year. But all that is fine. It still comes down to the people and the mentality, and I will say that that was the number one thing that I will always just keep at the top of the priority chart as it relates to our program.
Do we have any last questions in the room before we take off on Zoom? No.
Yeah. Mario, with respect to your defense, I'm curious how you're looking at this. But Ole Miss has scored 30 points in their last 8 games. Their offense, do you go into a game like this thinking you guys might need to score some points, or how do you kind of look at it right now? Again, with respect to your defense, it's been good.
Well, I don't think you ever limit the amount of points that you want to score in any game, so that would never change. It's always full throttle attack, doing the best you can absolutely do. So, and from a game plan standpoint specifically, that's something that we never get into, of course, in an open forum. But certainly they're an excellent offense. No one's really had any success against them whatsoever. So looking forward to the opportunity to compete.
Anything else for Coach Cristobal? Alrighty, y'all. Hang tight. We'll be joined by offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson here shortly.
Thank you guys. Have a blessed day.